Let the sun shine. Let the sun shine. Let the sun shine.
Welcome to Love the Way You Live with Charlie Lewis. We're back here at season 2 doing our thing. We got Andrea Allen.
I'm just excited.
This is not DC Coffee House. Snaps going all around.
I know. Snap.
I know that's like 2001, but I mean,
No,
you know.
that's like the 90s.
Yeah. 2 snaps up in a
I'm just excited.
That's right. That's
Season
right.
2 of Love the Way You Live.
Season 2 with Love the Way You Live, coming to you, giving us a talk today. We're going to talk about Vietnam.
Yes.
Vietnam today.
I mean, you took us to Tokyo.
Yes.
Now we're going to Vietnam.
Yeah. Good morning, Vietnam.
Well, somebody likes to say hello, Vietnam.
I
Hello,
said that
Vietnam.
last time.
Yeah, hello.
Not
Vietnam.
hello. It's
No.
good
Ghetto
morning.
version.
It's
I'm going to
good
give you
morning.
snaps on that
There you
one.
go.
No.
There you go.
Oh, it's about the. Oh,
So we're going to Vietnam
somebody's
this
got a
time.
vengeful spirit up in here.
See, and we got a guest in the house today.
We
got
do.
Rhonda in the house. Yeah.
Show your face, Rhonda. Show
Now,
your
y'all
face.
can't be
Lean in and show your
Don't
face.
sit back there and play with your hair and all this other kind of stuff.
Come
'cause
on
it's all
through.
gonna be on YouTube.
I know.
So watch it.
Come through, Rhonda. Come through.
Ooh, ooh.
Anyway, hello, podcast world. Today we are talking about Vietnam and the wonderful experience of that country.
See, that's just not a country I would go to.
Yeah, well, see, Vietnam got me hooked into the whole Asian tour.
Okay.
Because first of all, I saw some pictures. People were showing pictures of Thailand, and I was like, every Negro has been to Thailand. You going to Thailand? You going to Thailand? No, I ain't going to Thailand. I'm going
Everybody
to
does
Vietnam.
that.
I
I'm doing
know
something
everybody
different.
going. I'm going to Vietnam because Vietnam is so lush and so green, and it's it's sitting on the equator, so it is the difference between north and south. And there was a cultural difference between northern Vietnam and southern Vietnam.
Like a North Korea, South Korea.
Exactly. Same
Interesting.
thing. And there's a demarcation line in Vietnam, just like there was. And that's how we got involved in the whole war situation with the North and the French. Those French.
You better be dropping some
Those
historical
colonies,
knowledge. Right?
Those colonizers,
Yeah.
they came and they went in, and Ho Chi Minh, and you know America. We good for sign with somebody, and then when we don't do them right, then they kick us
Right.
to the curb, and then they go to war. But we basically, that trip really showed me why we lost the war, and we would have never won the war in Vietnam. It was purely psychological.
Wow. So why Vietnam for you?
Vietnam for me was one because my girl Yolanda, who I've had I think she was on episode 7, season 1, who's a world traveler. This was her 69th country.
And she's
that
got some
she's
wonderful
been on.
tips. So if you
Totally,
haven't
totally,
heard that
totally.
podcast, season 1, go back and listen to it.
Definitely. Yolanda, me and Yolanda, we met in grad school at University of Texas. And Yolanda said, Charlie, hey, I want to go to Vietnam. And I said, you know what? Vietnam has been on my list.
Interesting.
And she said, well, I'm putting together this trip. And I said, cool. I was glad that somebody else was putting together a trip that I didn't have to plan. Exactly, that I didn't have to plan. So she put together a trip, and we tried to do everything that we possibly could in a week. And I think we did. We didn't. The only place we didn't go to was Da Nang, and Da Nang is the country is a city in the middle of the country, and it has the bridge with the hand. And I don't know if you looked at it, but it's Da Nang, D-A Nang, N-A-N-G, and it has the hand bridge. It's amazing, and I'll show it to you.
What's the
See about that.
symbolism of that?
It's just bridging the gap.
Bridging the gap.
And holding the hands between the part of the island in Da Nang. And now
We'll throw a photo up.
it has
on
become
YouTube.
this whole resort town where people go.
Interesting. Okay.
So our first, I left Tokyo, and we started in the north, and then we went to the south. So we started in Hanoi first, and with Hanoi, when we were in Hanoi, it had a total different culture. The energy, this is when you're like, watch your backpack. Time you get out the airport, they're like, don't take, the strangers with the drivers, that
Crime
whole thing.
and-
All crime and all that kind of stuff. Watch your pickpocketers. The
Much
whole
more aggressive.
Totally more aggressive.
more
You knew,
aggressive.
you felt it time you landed in the airport and you walked out. Now, the beautiful thing, the airport is fabulous. Their airports over there, the way they do technology, food, food is the way of life in Asia. That's what I came up
yeah.
with. That was the biggest takeaway. Food is around everything. They even put food in their ads, like their clothing ads. They might be eating a dish of Roman noodles or something, But that is what I really took away, and then also too the authenticity, excuse me, of what is real good Vietnamese food, what is real good Japanese food, and what was real good Chinese food, and really how it's supposed to taste. Basically, when you're in those countries and when you're here in America. So it's totally different.
Totally different.
Going to a little fast food joint or going to a Michelin star restaurant, you really have to make that differentiation.
So Panda Express is not it.
Oh, no.
So you mentioned that certainly the culture is much more aggressive.
Yeah.
But what was the first thing that you noticed
Well,
when you stepped off the plane?
We first got off the plane. It was me, and I had it was 4 other ladies with me. So Yolanda, Nikidra, Gigi, and Anissa. And we met our tour guide. This was all planned tours, so this was different for me because I don't do a lot of planned tours, because I'm more of a free spirit. Drop me in the city. Let me discover myself. I set my own plan, my own schedule.
How was that for you, kind of releasing that kind of power?
No,
and control?
it was good because I really wanted to experience Vietnam. I had always looked at Vietnam as a place because of just the green Ha Long Bay, just the majesticness of all of those mountains and all of that stuff. I just really wanted to go there, and I really wanted to get. But I didn't realize what I was going to walk away with when I left Vietnam. And I say definitely put Vietnam on your list. Before Cambodia, and before Laos, and before Thailand, but it's a different trip. It's you get history, you really understand what living in a communist country would be like. You get to really feel. Well, of course, like I say, the food, but the North was different from the South. The North was more traditional. The South was young, energetic. Ho Chi Minh City, which was formerly known as Saigon. But when you're in Saigon, all the locals call it Saigon. They don't call it Ho Chi Minh City. Now, Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum is in Hanoi.
Okay.
So don't get it confused. Ho Chi Minh was a bad boy, and they honor him, and he's sitting there in that mausoleum, and we laid up, and they honor him and they respect him.
So
dearly.
he lies in state.
He lies in state there.
Wow.
He's
How
been there
have they
since
preserved
19.
his body?
You know what? That's a good question. But it's preserved.
Wow.
It's there. It's been on display since 1969. So they're doing a big 50th year anniversary next year. So it's going to be next year. It's going to be off the chain.
Wow.
So we landed in Hanoi at like 11:30 that night. As we got in the our tour van and we driving. First, all the mopeds, because mopeds is, you got to think about it. Yeah. Everybody there gets at least 80 dong, and that's their dollar, from the government.
Okay.
Okay? So
is that per month or?
That's per month.
Okay.
80 dong. That's what they get. That's government, basically, the communists helping everybody out. The average wage in Vietnam is anywhere between 200 and maybe, really, he said 200 to 400. You might get up to 800 dong
per month
of what they're living.
What's that equivalent of American dollars?
That's nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, the ratio was 23. No, what was it? 7. I don't forgot now because I've been in 3 countries and
kind of get it mixed up a little bit.
Yeah, I got them all mixed up, but it really comes out. It's not a lot of money.
Yeah. So a lot of it poverty?
No, I mean, you got to look at it. It's
just
not
the
a
way
lot
of
of
life.
private. It's the way of life. So there are a lot of open air markets, a lot of markets. So you go through the market, everything is fresh.
One Vietnamese dong is equal to $43. It's not even 43 cents. It's less than
43 cents.
It's less than it's a 43 cents.
Wow.
Okay.
One dong equals 43 cents.
So 80 dongs.
No,
per
I
month.
mean,
Wow.
Yeah, I have to do the math. Anyway, it's cheap. Bottom line,
it's not a lot
you
of
ain't
money.
making no money.
It's less than a half a dollar.
Wow.
Yeah, you ain't making money, and it's very. Now that is the thing about Southeast Asia. You will eat and drink your way through and get massages every day over there for an American dollar for nothing. So there are certain countries that are, now
I was going to save
Japan
the
is
massage conversation for later.
Yeah, well, we can talk about it, but Japan is organized and it's, almost like a democracy, so it's different. You're going to pay a little bit more there. You're going to pay a lot more there than you will pay when you are in Vietnam. Vietnam, you eat every day. I think I ate every day for $7, $8.
Oh my gosh. For the entire day.
For the entire day. And I'm talking about this is good food.
Yeah.
So our tour for 7 days, hotel included, was $982 for the double for the girls, and it was $1,000 something for me.
And that includes the tour.
That includes the hotels. That includes lunch and dinner. Breakfast and lunch. Our tour guide, all of that, the transportation, the whole 9 yards. You just had to pay for tips. That's all we had to pay. So it's very inexpensive. So you have to check it out. We can give you all that. We went through Odyssey Tours. I'll have all that online as far as where you can go through in order to pick that up. But the first thing is we got into Hanoi. It's Sunday night, 12:07.
I'm mad you remember the time.
Because there was a line of mopeds out in this flower market, lined up doing flowers. Sunday morning, I'm just like, where are they going? Flowers is a thing.
Yeah.
Everybody lay in state, and everybody has flowers.
Wow.
Flowers they're big into Chinese culture in Vietnam. So they're all
Chinese
culture in Vietnam. Yes.
Wow.
They're all about feng shui. Feng shui. What is it? Feng shui?
Feng shui.
Feng shui.
Feng
Yeah.
shui. Thank you. It's all about having the pagoda in the front of the house for the water protector, and them, building their house behind it. So everybody will build a little pagoda in front of their house in order for to make sure that they have the right feng shui.
Wow.
And they have their Buddha sitting right there behind it.
Buddha sitting there.
So it's all about that. So we got to Hanoi, we checked into the hotel, all that. That was great. But just to see that energy with everybody on mopeds. Now, you got to think about it. This is 2018.
Right.
Before mopeds, it was all bicycles.
Okay.
So you can see people who still are on bikes who have now migrated over to mopeds.
They haven't moved up.
And if you got a car, you really doing something.
That's like a BlackBerry versus an iPhone.
Yeah. Something like that.
The BlackBerry's the bicycle, the iPhone is the moped.
Yeah,
I
she did take it
did.
there. Yeah, it's more like the Pinto
versus
the Jag or something like that. Yeah, something more like
You're trying
that.
to make it relevant.
Yeah, relevant. Yeah.
kind of like gasoline and electric.
Yeah, how about that? You see no Teslas. How about that? There's not one in the house. So the funny thing about Vietnam, and like the guys will tell you, you have to learn how to drive a moped first.
Okay.
You have to drive a moped first before you can get your driver's license in a car.
Wow.
Because you have to know how the mopeds are they are number one on the street.
Before cars.
Before cars are. So you have to drive a moped first before you can get the driver's license.
Interesting.
Then you can get a car and drive, because you got to know how to obey the moped, because they got the right of the way.
They have the right of
And
way.
trust me, the way they drive, they got the right of the way.
Wow.
They travel everything, washing machines, everything.
All
on the scooter. Everything is on the scooter.
Wow.
Your whole life is on the scooter. They move your apartment on the scooter.
Oh my
And
God.
they, trust me, they had everything on the scooter.
On a scooter, wow.
Everything was on the scooter. Chicken Man, I call it the Chicken Man. He had roosters, he had ducks, he had every farm animal in the back of his garden sitting in these cages on the back of his scooter, taking them to the poultry farm to get them big.
Wow.
That's how
He's a two-wheel scooter.
two-wheel scooter.
Wow.
So he's balancing it all.
Balancing it all.
He's towing a trailer.
Everything.
Wow.
The whole 9 yards. So we left Hanoi the first day, and we drove up to the pagoda of Ba Nan. Yes. And so that was where the first and the second kings, were. And we did the grottas and all of that, and we saw the big Buddha, the happy Buddha, and all of that, and walked these 4,000 steps, up to the top. And we did a very cultural day about the country itself and looking at that and then just seeing how green you see once you get to the top. All the mountains, it's so mountainous throughout the whole country that you really see. So there we stopped there, and then we had lunch in the hotel that they have at the pagoda. And the food there was an authentic, that was our first Vietnamese meal.
So
that
what
we were
was
there.
it?
So we had the Vietnam pork chops.
Oh, were
Pork
they
shoulder.
were they smothered in gravy?
No,
Oh.
you don't do heavy food.
I mean,
There's nothing
I'm just-
heavy.
she just made some gravy the
I'm
other
just
night.
saying.
She just
That
said that-
Midwest.
That's Midwest.
No,
Midwest.
no gravy.
Okay,
No,
all right.
Black folk, you know how it is.
No.
You know we put gravy on everything.
No,
okay.
no smothered, no gravy. This is fresh.
Okay.
So the way they do their pork chops, they're thin, and then they have them. They're kind of sweet. So you would like that because it's
Oh,
sweet.
because I love sweet, right?
Yeah.
I do everything
sweet with a little, but then, they had that along with, of course, everybody does French fries, which is amazing to me, but it is. And then we had the beef noodle, which is called the pho soup. And you could do soups with either chicken or seafood or beef. And so every morning or every meal, basically, you're doing a soup. With noodles and everything, and it has cilantro and it has the chili pepper, it has the soy sauce.
had me
the
at
oyster
cilantro.
sauce. But all of it, it's just so good and so fresh.
So fresh.
And that's why people over there are so healthy and live to be 110,
Right.
130 years old. And you see it, and they're walking and they're active.
Yeah.
These people are active.
They're
every
moving.
day, and they're moving. Yes, they're moving. And they're cutting their chicken in the backyard.
Fresh. It doesn't get any
Fresh.
more fresh.
It doesn't
You know,
get
we
more
do
fresh.
this whole thing in America called farm to table. All of a sudden, it's like this trend where we're going to go to this restaurant and they're farm to table.
Yeah.
That's what they've been doing that.
Right. They've
That's
been
how
doing-
they live. That is their lifestyle.
They continue in the North. They continue to live that farm to table life. That farm to table, that backyard to table.
Backyard to table, yeah.
And they go to the market every day. So they go to the market every day, and they do it between 8 and 12. So it's a daily ritual. You go and you see the beef out. I'm like, this is not government regulated.
So no supermarkets as we would know them.
No.
In the
I mean,
least
there are, but for the most part, everybody goes to the market.
Okay.
Okay? Because you eat fresh, because a lot of them didn't have refrigerators.
I was just about to ask you. No refrigerator,
A
so
lot
they're
of them
eating
didn't
on a
have fresh-
daily
they're
basis.
eating
They
fresh
pick it,
food,
cook
cook it,
Yeah.
and it's done.
Yeah.
And
kinda like that.
And then if they don't sell it by 12, then of course you get like the half price sale or whatever the case may be. But now they do have refrigerators today. But that was the old way of how things were. But you see the big catfish, the big bass
Lord.
they have called mudfish, because they have all the rivers there in the Mekong River and all of that. All that stuff is in the market, and you're seeing, and they're just got machetes out there just cutting the live fish,
Wow.
and they like to see their fish live before they buy it. So you're seeing live fish, and they say, "I want that fish."
Now,
Boom. They
what's the
pick
purpose
that.
of them wanting to see it live?
They want fresh.
They want it fresh.
It's no
Okay.
sitting on ice.
Yeah.
No, fresh fish. You know exactly where.
We
it
need
came
to build a chicken coop in your backyard.
There you go. You got to keep doing that. Don't get rid of it. Don't be mad. Don't hate on the chicken coop.
That's what I'm trying to say. Well, first of all, you from Georgia.
Look,
I'm
look.
sure
I grew up in a chicken coop.
There you go.
You know.
You said you grew up in a chicken coop.
You're like, I got chicken fire in my house right now.
Look, I ain't even gonna tell you. My grandmother had a chicken coop, and she had that rooster in there. And that rooster! I used to hate that rooster.
Wake
And
up,
that rooster
everybody.
would wake up, wake up, and then she was like, "Child, Junior, I need you to go out there and get them eggs." I'd be like, "Oh hell no!" No, she didn't. And yes, I would go in that hen house, chicken house, get in that coop and get poked, chicked up, But
them
we had-
eggs.
get those eggs, come back, fresh eggs, and then she also had the cream and the milk and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So we do make homemade ice cream. It was really good. That's
those
why I
are the
say, from
days.
being from the South, that's why I'm so healthy today.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in a very Southern, very farm to table
Yeah.
way
Uh-huh.
back then, where my mom made pear preserves, apple preserves. We had the grapes from the vines, and down south they call them bullet
Yeah.
grapes because they
Yeah.
were big, the big ones that was sweet. and you would just put those in your mouth, and you could just take it. She would
Well,
make all these preserves,
But
and
it's
everything
interesting
from
because
that.
my mom talks about that a lot growing up in Louisiana, how they had fig trees, pear trees, everything
All
they
of
wanted
that.
was right there.
Yep.
And it literally was farm or tree or chicken coop to table. Like
Right.
they weren't thinking about, and they stayed healthy
Right.
because they were eating fresh food.
Totally.
So we got to get back to that.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah.
as we digress. Going back.
We got to get back to
Yeah,
that.
We got to get back to that.
Going back.
We got to get back to that.
Going back to this pagoda. And going back to, so
Back
anyway,
to
in
Vietnam.
this, back to Vietnam, and in this region, they had 31 valleys. It's different caves, different types of just over 600 different type of floral.
Wow.
That's why I say flowers are so big
Yeah.
over there, because they have this this flower market that is just out of control. I mean, they have flowers for days. I mean, just flowers everywhere, and everywhere you went, there were fresh flowers. It's a daily thing. They bring fresh flowers, and everything has to be fresh.
Yeah. What's
You
the
know?
significance, though, of flowers for them?
If they're in a tropical region.
Okay.
And so they have all of these different type of plants.
Just available to them.
And it's
Yeah.
available to them. And then some of those plants that from health reasons, a lot of them, it's their industry. So they use it for, they
Medicinal
export,
reasons,
municipal,
yeah.
all of that. So
Interesting.
they're starting to make, and they're starting to export more things from Vietnam now. In Vietnam, you'll start seeing your clothing also too.
Made in Vietnam.
Made in Vietnam, and that's the northern part of Vietnam of where they're doing all of that. The southern part of Vietnam in Ho Chi Minh City, or better known as Saigon, that's the tech industry. That's the young, energy, thriving city, 9 million people. Hanoi has about 7 million people.
The largest, well, a little smaller than New York.
Yeah,
much
a little
smaller.
smaller than New York, but it's like 700 people coming at you at one time too. That's how you feel it, because you're like, oh, don't hit that moped. He's like, bro, I've been doing this for a long time. I got you, okay. I think I saw one wreck where a truck was overturned on the highway or something. He probably was drunk. But besides that, we spent our day there.
Yeah.
And then we drove back. We did get a massage.
Okay.
Um,
That's what I'm talking
We
about.
did get a
So I
massage.
mean, you've
up
had
in that
quality.
region.
I mean, we've all had quality massages. Was it
The hour long at the Four
resort? Was it
Seasons.
resort level massage or was it
Past resort level massage.
half?
Okay.
Pass.
Oh, pass.
Yeah, you don't
It's
get
seated?
For
you don't get
for $12.
You don't get a massage like these people massage you in Vietnam. Look, first and foremost, I always usually get my massages done by males because I need strength. I got a strong back, so
Right.
I need strong hands. And usually when I go to most women, I would always be disappointed because I was like, "You're not strong
You're not giving
enough.
me
You're
what
not
I
giving
need."
me
Yeah.
baby, those women over there."
They had the G.I. Joe Kung Fu grip.
They gave you what you needed, every
What you
day,
wanted.
what you wanted. I mean, they went in, dug in, stand up on you, beat your back, whatever you needed, they gave it to you. So I'm telling you, I mean, it was the massages were great, but this was the perfect thing about this massage when we went there. They didn't have. They were a little shy because it wasn't resort. We got there too late, and we wanted a massage at the end of the day because it was the end of the day thing. We went back and we went to the hotel and was checking in, and we was like, we want a massage. Where can we get a massage? But we were really kind of like out in the middle
Yeah.
of nowhere, and they said we don't. And they said, hold on, we can get it, but it ain't. It's not. They were a little.
It's not approved by us.
It's not approved by us, and they didn't want us to give them a bad rating. So I
Right.
understood that.
Right.
So they were like, it's in someone's home.
Oh, Jesus.
And so me and Yolanda was like, we down. Let's go. Let's go. In Vietnam.
In Vietnam, do
We
what
gonna
they do. Yeah.
We're going to do it. So Mike was his name, was our tour guide, and he called up his girl. His girl called up her girl and another girl and another girl, and they said, we got you. And we went down this dark
Oh, Jesus.
road.
You weren't scared?
No. We went down this dark road, and then we were like, okay, we come up missing.
That's what I'm saying. We got the U.S. Embassy.
but
Have you seen
Involved.
Charlie T-shirts?
I know.
Love the way you live T-shirt.
Love the way he lived.
He used to be like that guy that tried to go on. What was that? Allen in
Where was that?
In India.
India,
Where
yes.
he came up missing.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, so we were like, nah. We knew we were in good hands because it was
With the tour
tour
guide.
Yeah,
Okay.
he said, but it's not gonna be to your standards of So anyway, it was perfect. We went to this woman's house. They had beds set up where you could tell they had done this before, and they had massage beds set up. And so we were out there and we had a perfect massage, and it was
Nice.
perfect because I needed that because
After a long
stuff
day and
and after
flying
that
and
flight and all that kind of
Rejuvenated.
stuff,
Yeah.
and rejuvenate you. We were good. So we got up from there and we drove down. I think it was day 2 or day 3. We went to Halon Bay. And Halon Bay was the day that we went. And if you don't know anything about Halon Bay, you should. But on the way to Halon Bay, we stopped at this pearl farm. And it is where they produce non-cultured pearls. Where non-cultured pearls are made. 90% of the pearls today are cultured
culture,
pearls.
yeah.
Cultured farms are cultured pearls.
Right.
And they showed us the whole technique.
Where they farm
how-
the oysters or clams.
Where
or,
it's all oysters.
oysters.
And how
farm
they
them.
they farm the oysters and how they had the whole technique set up right there for you. So it's a tourist trap, really. Drive you in, show you the whole, but the whole production. I learned a couple of things about Vietnam. They do lacquer. And they showed us through the lacquer plant. The oyster, the cultured pearl. But the cultured pearl, let me talk about the cultured pearl first. The cultured pearl is how they drop a membrane and they open up the oyster and they drop a membrane in the oyster and it forms around the membrane because it's like trying to fight that thing, right? 50% of them live, 50% of them die. Okay. Normally, an oyster, how a pearl is made or created is because a piece of sand gets into the oyster. And that creates the pearl. But that doesn't happen today just because of the waters and how things are done. So everything are farmed today. So in Halon Bay, before you get to Halon Bay, they stop you off at this oyster farm and show you the whole technique. So we went through the whole technique of how a pearl is made and then how a pearl is created from white to a colored pearl or a larger pearl and how they have to stay in the water longer, 4 or 5 years for a bigger pearl, a year for a smaller pearl.
Right.
And so they went through the whole technique of that and showed you that. And then, of course, at the end,
They're like, would you like to buy?
Would you like to buy?
Yeah.
You know,
This is a really big
all
one for
that.
$500.
But they use that to, you can still eat the oysters, all of that is farming, all of that. So that's one of their biggest industries.
Interesting.
So they are exporting pearls in Vietnam big time. So when you get out to Halon Bay has over 1,900 limestone mountains.
Wow.
And I'll definitely have pictures up to show people this and everything like that. But we were on a cruise. So this night we spent on a cruise ship. On a boat. So it was about 40 of us.
Oh, that's
So that's when
nice.
you got to meet other people. So
Yeah.
we kind of became...
Any other black folks on there?
No.
I don't think by nature we don't.
no.
I mean,
We were there.
Right.
There were groups of us in Vietnam, but we were not on this
On this
particular
boat at
cruise.
the same time.
So
Okay.
when we were on this cruise, there was us, but there was this Italian business partner, these two guys, and they had their wines, and they produced their wines in Vietnam and China from Italy, and they're from the south region of Puglia,
Okay.
down in the southern Biomalfi coast. And those guys had a red wine and a white wine, but they also sell here in Kroger.
Oh.
So we
What's
were
the
able to
name of
taste
it again?
their.
Look, I'm writing that down.
I don't remember the name of their wine. I have that online too. But the thing is, they had they were doing samples and they were there because they were meeting with some of their distributors in Vietnam and China, and they were talking about how difficult it is in Vietnam because of the communists in order to get some of the product in, and people are very rigid about what they drink. They get one thing and then he was saying this. In China they drink one thing and then they're on to the next one.
Oh, wow.
And the Chinese is like that. They they drink one and then on to the next one. They don't have any loyalty about a brand.
okay, interesting. No brand loyalty.
They no brand.
It's all about
loyalty.
their
It's
culinary
right about
palate.
culinary
Yeah.
palate. It's just about taste that. Ooh, I like that for the moment. It's like Americans almost. We hot
Fickle.
today and you off
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Cold tomorrow.
Yeah.
You gone tomorrow. But Halon Bay was the cruise, so we went.
Unless you drink Bud Light. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
you
I'm
downgrading.
just saying.
Archie,
You,
Archie, you downgrading the program.
just talking about the
downgrading
loyalty. That's all I'm saying.
But
That's all I'm saying.
like, really,
Light.
I don't
so
think
many
so.
craft beers. There's so much out
I
here.
don't do that.
Okay,
I'm
anyway.
just saying.
So anyway,
Talking about
so-
just your basic brand loyalty. It's not
It's
like
not that. Yeah.
Just trying to make it tap.
I'm trying to talk about Halam Bay. So anyway, the bay is beautiful. The cruise ship was amazing. Everybody had a suite. They were on the ship. You had your whole crew. The meals on the ship was just fabulous. I'm big into Vietnamese coffee. You know, they do it with the condensed milk. And then over there, they do it with condensed milk, but they also add coconut to it. And they also add yogurt to it.
You
Oh
mean
my
like
God.
just shaved coconut?
Shaved coconut, but the coconut
Coconut milk.
and
Okay.
coconut cream and
No-
coconut
no need
sweetener.
for sugar.
They do all of that.
Wow.
And so all of that, when you make Vietnam export a lot of coconut, excuse me. It's one of the biggest. So we went to a coconut processing plant along with the pearl, along with lacquer.
Wow.
Let the sun shine. Let the sun shine. Let the sun shine. Let the sun shine.